Buddy, welcome to the Sunday show. Got a lot to get into today. We got fans back in Philadelphia for the first time in a year. I can't wait for that. We're going to get right into it here. We got Paul across the way. What's up,
everybody?
dog? How you doing? We
Good.
got Will over here.
What's up?
Diego.
Yeah.
My Uncle Mark.
Hey.
And we got Bob behind the glass.
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
Yeah,
Lots
so
to talk about.
I'm beyond pumped. A year in the making, we finally got live sports again in Philly, and our own Pat Bernard is actually going down there tonight. Saw him yesterday, hooked him up with some tickets, Flyers tickets. So Pat, represent, dog, represent.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just want to get thoughts. Before we get into the fan aspect or whatever, the Flyers had 3 games versus Pittsburgh. Lost 2 of them, and what's your thoughts on the Flyers series versus Pittsburgh?
Definitely ugly. Without that coming back, we were down the big. We would got swept by them, and the same issues. Power play, they can't score. Goaltending has been suspect. So I don't know. I mean, it's tough because division is so competitive, and like you got to win these games. We could have won. Get 6 points. I mean, you only walk away with 2. And then yesterday, that bad goal by Elliott, at least, that went to overtime if you didn't let that in. And we would have got 3 points there. And then, hopefully we went in overtime. But it's bad, man. I don't know what to say about it. To tell you the truth, it's been tough.
Yeah, Well,
yeah, it's been bad, especially after yesterday. I thought they was going to get that win yesterday, but I agree with Paul, man. Like, we got to get these wins, at least to stay competitive in this division. But with that win, they would have went to 3rd place, right? And right now they're still in 5th.
Yeah.
I think we're tied with
Tied for
Pittsburgh
5th.
now.
Time for 5th, yeah. So they got to step their game up, man. Do something.
Yeah, I was hoping we could at least get 3 points out there. Like Paul said, go 1-1-1. But I feel like the Flyers are feeling the effect of having all them players out with COVID, playing 6 games in 9 days. I feel like that has a lot to do with it. So hopefully in these next couple of games we can get our rhythm back and stop turning the puck over and over again, turning the puck over.
Yep.
Yeah, that series showed me more than anything that they need a defenseman.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing that's concerning is their penalty kill is like 26th or 27th in the league. And the power play is struggling. I mean, you're not going to win many games with a penalty kill and a power play struggle.
Right.
They got to make a move. Now, I'm taking a slightly more positive thought of it, though. I was very encouraged by Thursday's game with the performance of the captain. Giroux really stepped up. I know a lot of people here love ripping Giroux, but the guy's averaging about a point a game. So I don't know what more he could do out there. He had a great game, and with these games against Pittsburgh, I mean, you're not going to beat Pittsburgh 5 out of 7, or you know what I mean? So right now we're 3-2 versus them. I think today's game is more of a barometer. Like we need to win tonight versus Washington. This is a really big game tonight.
Yeah. Well, I was going to, just to dovetail on what you said, buddy. The power play is just, they're in the bottom. I was looking at some NHL.com this morning in prep for the show, and as far as numbers are concerned, they're in the bottom 3. I think is in shots per game for themselves, and they're in the bottom 4 or 5 as far as giving up the most shots in the league. They're one of the worst power play teams, power play percentages in the league as far as defensively. And like Joe said, they needed defensemen, and it clearly showed. I mean, that one goal. I was at my brother's yesterday, and we watched the game, and that we were talking about it earlier. That one guy that came around the net.
It was Malkin, right?
Yeah.
Malkin.
And he made that shot, and it was like nobody put a body on him.
That was wide open net. Yeah.
No, nobody touched him. And I mean, it's like I'm a lot older than you guys. I remember the old time Flyer teams with Ed Van Imp and Moose Dupont. I mean, I would have buried that guy. He never would have gotten that. He wouldn't have gotten that close to the net. I mean, it's just the whole. Maybe it's a different game, or maybe it's just is it?
This team doesn't have that kind of identity. That's a good thing. We're not. Watson isn't going to have Tom Wilson because he got suspended for 7 games after that dirty hit on Carlo.
Yeah.
So at least we don't have to worry about any of our players getting beat up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, no more Broad Street bullies, huh?
Nah, it's not anymore.
We really don't have that player on our team this year.
No.
Well, you know what's really ironic? For years, we I remember clamoring like, man, the Flyers, they're so big and they're so slow. All these teams skate around them. And now the Flyers are like one of the fast teams, and they actually could use a guy with a little bit of size. It's like they've gone so the opposite. You know what I mean? Like I think they really do need that physical crease clearing defenseman. Although, I mean, if you look around the league, there aren't really that many of them around.
Nope.
The game's really changed.
Yeah.
You know?
It's interesting. I was reading an article just recently online, and this was written in 2012. And the guy wrote this article, said the 50 NHL players from the past that could not play today. And some of the names were Dave Schultz, Ty Domi, Dale Hunter, Clark Gillies, a lot of names these guys know. The number one name was Bobby Clark. And he said, Bobby Clark, he wouldn't make it today. For one, he doesn't have the speed, and two, because he was so cheap and dirty, he'd be suspended so many times that he would be out of the league. That was this guy's conclusion.
Wow, that's amazing.
I mean, here's a guy who was one of the all-time great centers. The NHL channel has they do I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they have the 50 greatest centers, 50 greatest forwards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he ranked in the top. He was ranked in the top 10 as far all-time centers. And he was amazing. I mean, Bobby Clark is a legend. But to think that today he couldn't play, and so that tells me something. I mean, the game's missing that type of grit. I don't know. I mean, it's just the European game has just come in and it's just taken over because they're used to wider rinks, less body checks,
more finesse.
And where the Canadian game, the old time Canadian game used to be,
tough.
Nobody, that guy wouldn't have gotten across the front of the goal.
Right. Somebody would have been waiting for him right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what's ironically, yesterday I was on my way to meet Paul to watch Chicky and Pete's to watch the Flyers. They Ray Dininger and McNeil had Bobby Clark on for an hour-long interview.
Oh yeah,
it was really interesting. Yeah. If nobody heard it, it'd be worth listening to on like a podcast or something. It was really interesting because I never really. I mean, I knew about Bobby Clark obviously because I was too young when he played. But but he really went into like this whole life, like growing up with the diabetes and then the Stanley Cup Parade. I mean, I heard that was unreal.
Yeah, I was there. I shook hands with him and Bernie.
Wow, yeah, that was
great.
Awesome. That must have been.
It
awesome.
was amazing. I mean, it was just just people everywhere. It was just
yeah,
phenomenal.
He was laughing. He was like, yeah, I was there for a little while, and then it got a little much. He's like, how many topless girls can you look at? And Dininger and McNeil were like, as many as it takes. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking, But hey, Bob, what's your take on the Penguin series back there?
I mean, a lot of the stuff that I feel has already been addressed. I think that this is exactly what I had planned to see from them. I just don't. I mean, I think people got a lot of they got really carried away last year or this year with their predictions based off of last year's performance. And, I think when it counts most, you might see this team resurge like last year towards the end of the year. But, elite teams they find a way to win games. They find a way to score. They find a way when they have the lead to keep the lead and win. When they're down, this team seems to find a way to get back in it. Like the other night, like I think it was on Thursday, they were down and then they come back and they win. But you can't give up 3 quick goals like that. I mean, you're gonna lose every time you go into the playoffs. I don't know. This team seems to have the same problems, and I'm just really starting to think that like it has to do with. I think number one, I think someone challenged Claude Giroux because he finally woke up. I mean, the guy's disappeared. He hasn't been anywhere since the season started. And I know people. You have your Drew. So I'm a Drew supporter. I'll say it, but you need guys to step up here, and he just wasn't doing it. They're not only does their power play and penalty kill stink. I'm not going to beat a dead horse with that. But one other thing to add with both of them, they're both in the league below the league average.
Yeah.
And these great teams, when you look at the Tampa Bays and you look at the other elite teams in the league, they just don't have those type of numbers. They find a way to get points on the power play. The penalty kill is at least in the middle tier of the league and not below the league average. So I think it's, and that those two aspects are so important, and you can't win with numbers like that.
Yeah.
And it just seems like it's an ongoing issue every year, no matter who's coaching this team, no matter what coach, and it's just frustrating. I think Pat Bernard, seems to think it's Drew's fault, or he's constantly calling on the coaching. You've been through a few coaches now with this core of players, with the core that they have. I mean, Voracek, Drew, those guys. It's time for those guys to kind of either need to perform or you need to get the hell out, because I'm getting tired of it. It's like dead weight. It's frustrating.
I feel like the city wants to depend too much on Drew and Voracek. They are older guys. Like, they should be our role players. Hayes needs to step up. Konechny needs to step up. Where are they?
Where's Patrick too?
Yeah.
Nolan Patrick's always on the ice, never doing anything.
Yeah.
Was Travis Konechny on the team 6 years ago?
No,
Right.
That's what I'm saying. 6 years ago,
But
Drew had to be what you're saying. Not 6 years now. He's an older guy. He's got to play his role. These young guys around him have to support their captain. You know what I mean? No one's giving anyone any help. Drew's averaging almost a goal a game.
With the same thing, though.
My
point is that the on ice leadership. I probably should have said that. And to me, when you switch everything out, you get a new GM. They've been through a couple GMs now. They've been a few coaches now. Like, where's the on ice leadership at? It's not there. To me, it's just not. It's not there. I feel like they're falling back into this boring team to watch, and it's not. I don't see any. I mean, the first time I saw any fight from Claude Giroux was this past week. So you can't. I mean, the numbers are there. I mean, he's still top. Top in on the team in points, but I mean, I just need to see more out of a captain like that. And I feel like Jake Voracek's lackadaisical attitude. It's just kind of. I think everyone needs to step up. But my point is you need that leadership. You need that type of fire, and that fire hasn't been there.
Well, I feel like Matt Niskanen was that last year. Matt Niskanen brought that leadership on the ice, bringing the team together, being that leader. We lost him. You could tell how big of a loss that was. There's no one.
Is this as simple as the fact that this team just isn't really that great, and last year they just got on a nice run?
Absolutely, I agree with that.
I mean, I think they're
in the middle. They're right where they need to be in their rebuild.
We only lost 2 games this year to a team besides the Bruins.
No, I know.
Pretty good team. They're a pretty good team.
No, I'm not saying they're not a good team. I guess I should let me explain a little. Like, I don't think that they're not a good team. I think they are a good team. I'm just saying I don't know. I don't think they're quite ready for that Stanley Cup run just yet. You know what I mean? I feel like
absolutely.
I feel
2
like
years away at least.
I feel like if you look at the Eastern Conference, they're more of maybe the 5th, 6th best team as opposed to the 1st or 2nd.
Yeah.
What I mean?
One round and out, or maybe get to the 2nd round and out. But that's as far as you're going.
Well, but the great thing about hockey, though, if this was the NBA, I'd be like, man, the Flyers have no shot if they're 5 or 6. But the great thing about hockey is if you could get Carter Hart to go on an unbelievable run. I mean, a hot goalie can take it all.
Look at the Blues. 2 years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they went into 8th. They were the 8th seed going into the playoffs, and they came in and they won the whole thing.
Right.
I just feel like the best team in hockey always the best record in hockey always isn't the best team.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You catch heat towards the end of the year, and that momentum I feel like is what drives you through in hockey.
Well, another thing
because the playing field's very even.
Another thing that's going to drive a team down too is what Pat Bernard's checking in. Totally agree with Dago Bianchi. These dudes need to step up. Well, I mean, you know what? That Pat Bernard plays both sides. You know what I mean? And that's why you guys are the A team. But what I'm saying too is I want to allude to this is what Walt Hartnett's bringing up. You giving up the goal after the Flyers score is a backbreaker, and that's exactly. Yeah. But you know what? I just feel like that's that's the Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. Those games are like that. They're back and forth. But like that's what I mean. Like great teams always find a way to overcome that and win.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that they're there. I mean, you have people picking them to win the Stanley Cup and go to the Stanley Cup. I don't see it with this team. So I don't see it.
So what's your take on Carter Hart?
The Stanley Cup.
Carter Hart?
Yeah, what's your take on him? What you think about him?
I think this dude hasn't played a whole season yet in the NHL. He has not played a full 82 game series. And in one of those, he's had no training camp.
Right.
Look, I'm not making excuses for the guy. He's let in some soft goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But my thing is, you do have a guy named Elliott who's backing him up, who's pushing him, and that's good.
Right.
I don't think. I mean, sometimes I hear he's overrated. Sometimes I hear Carter Hart, he's horrible. If you were to talk to Pat Bernard about it, you would think that the sky's falling talking about Carter Hart. But the thing with Carter Hart is he's still young.
Yeah.
This is his third season, and out of those 3 seasons, he hasn't played a full season yet. You know what I mean? He was brought up in the middle of the season, the first season, and then last season, and then this season, he's in the middle of the pandemic, and he has no training camp at all. It's like you went from one season right into the other. So I'm not worried about Carter Hart yet. I just don't. I think the kid's mentally tough. I think he's going to be all right. He's going to be all right.
Yeah, I think so too.
I will say this though. I think everyone's expectations of him right out of the gate is so high. Like they expect him to be the savior, which I don't think he's ready for that right yet. So I think everyone's expectations of him were high from the beginning.
I think he's had zero help this year. Any goal he's going to fail behind that defense.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter who it is.
I was going to say.
Carter Hart is on his head in these games. If you're watching, he's on his head, and then they lose 3-4-3 because he had to make 45 saves spinning on his head. No help for him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
The city's always ready to ride everyone out right away. Like if you watch Carter Hart, name me a better Flyers goalie than that when you see him at the top of his game that you've seen.
I mean, probably
sorry.
not since Hextall's rookie year.
How long ago was that?
I was
86.
long time. I was in third grade.
If you watch the Flyers every game, Carter Hart passes the eye test. He's the real deal. You got to.
I think he's all right.
I think he's the real deal, and I think if in hockey, your goalie is only as good as your defense in front of you.
Yeah,
That's it.
How old is he? 21?
22. He just turned 22.
So I don't. He needs. I don't know. I think he needs some time still.
I think Pat Bernard needs some time to relax. Carter Hart's going to be all right.
Yes,
I think so too.
And by the way, I am anointing you guys the A team because I can see your viewers as far more superior than the B team.
Well, I must be B.A. Baracus then. The A team.
Yeah. B.A. Baracus. There it is. I'm gonna say Joe with the pepper hair. Is what's a Hannibal?
Yeah. Yeah. Who's Murdoch then?
You got to get Murdoch. Hold on a second. I mean, I like Diego. Diego's Murdoch.
The crazy one. Right? Was it Murdoch the crazy one?
Murdoch, yeah. I like Diego. He's the crazy one, I guess.
There we go. Yeah,
Okay.
Pat's the B team just for his takes on Claude Giroux. I mean, the guy like I said, the guy doesn't score, but he's chiming in saying, "Oh, the Flyers have been contenders since G took over the C." Not well. I mean, he's right, but the team sucked. That's like saying like, how are you supposed to be a contender if you're the one good player and you have like a couple like the Flyers were a mediocre team like his whole time here, and I can't put that on Giroux. If you're out there, this isn't the NBA. Like if this was the NBA, one guy can make a huge difference. A hockey team, one guy can only make so much of a difference.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
What is it about the Flyers? They have problems with the black and yellow teams.
I don't know.
Boston, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, maybe they only. Maybe they got problems seeing the colors or something. I don't know. You know what I mean?
So yeah, Joe, you it looks like one of your Bob Sullivan's checking in.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying he wants to buy a jersey who on the current team do I buy or do I need to go retro? At this case, Bob, I would just put Sullivan on the back. So you don't know who's gonna be coming out.
I would probably. I mean, if you go current team, I would say Carter Hart's your
I agree.
Yeah,
I would.
Carter Hart's probably the only.
What about Farabee? Farabee might be here for a long time.
Yeah, well, yeah, but you know what though? Farabee is the kind of guy that he is really young and really good, but he's also the kind of guy that maybe would get moved for like a 40-some goal scorer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Pro-Rob's a good one too.
Yeah, like if I'm a opposing team and I want to and I have a guy, you know, say a year from now there's a malcontent somewhere, it's like a 40-goal scorer. Farabee's the first guy I'm asking for.
Right.
You know what I mean?
John Leaves checking in. He's saying Joe is the Jay Leno.
I've heard that before. Yeah, I wish he had his money in his cars.
And then he's saying, he's telling Bob Sullivan to put Lieb on the back. Bob, don't listen to Joe. Do not put Lieb on the back.
I got a funny story for you guys. So back in the day, our late friend Greg Schlecker, greatest guy, right? This about 14 years ago, he worked at the airport. And he met there was a porn star that got kicked off a plane, and Greg worked at the airport, so he brought this lady out, and everybody's like all over. Well, to be honest, I had money on the Seahawks that night because it was Seahawks versus Cowboys, so I was kind of not really paying her any mind. I'm watching the game, and I guess it bothered her or whatever. And she's calling me like Jay Leno, and I'm like, oh man, Jay Leno, right? I was only like 28 years old. And, like, and she but she's like this. She's like, yeah. She's like, but you know what, Jay? And I was like, whoa, okay. I was like, all right, maybe it's not a diss. You know?
You'll take that. I take that.
Yeah. But it's not a true story. Yeah, so that was the first time I was called Jay Leno, and at first I took a little offense, and then when she made that comment, I was like, all right, maybe it's not all that bad.
I think Lieb's on here just trying to start trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's no way. Stay away from Lieb. You're gonna get. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it on there. Lieb's awesome, dude. Man, we miss you.
Yeah, well, just tell Lieb. Just don't. Our next topic we're going to get into is the Sixers, and please, Lieb, for the love of God, don't say Joel Embiid's going to win MVP or something because he'll immediately rip his ACL. So please don't jinx Joel Embiid.
And he needs to keep his predictions to himself.
Yeah. Although I hammered him the other night when it was 3-0. Me and Bob were hammering him.
Oh man, we were giving it to him.
But the Flyers came back, so he didn't mush it. So, but I want to. Paul's got a really cool Embiid T-shirt on, and that's our man. And the Sixers are at the break, and the game before the break, the Utah game, was like probably the best game I've seen all year.
Yeah. Awesome.
Maybe even in a couple years. And just the fact Utah shot like 50% from three, and the Sixers still won.
Yes, because of Embiid.
Because of Embiid.
Yeah.
And I guess my question to you, Paul, is we're at the All-Star break right now. Is Joel Embiid the MVP of this league?
Oh yeah, the stats I've seen and the way he's been playing, no one could contain him. Yeah, definitely by far. I really think he's up there. Definitely a front runner.
How about you, Will?
Yeah, definitely. Compared to who? LeBron James?
Compared to anybody right
because
now.
That's what they're trying to compare him to, like MVP between him and LeBron. Of course, Embiid, because he's carrying the team. LeBron is not really carrying the team.
Right.
LeBron still needs help.
Yeah.
So Embiid should be the front runner for MVP.
Oh yeah,
he should be.
I don't think it's close.
Me neither. I don't think it's close.
I don't even think it's close.
It shouldn't be close.
If
it does, that's the favoritism.
Right.
For
LeBron. And he's old and
that's always
right now the
face.
Well, I was gonna say Stephen A. Smith is pushing James Harden, and I'm like, come on, man. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, James Harden's playing great ball. And KD's out. I mean, you can make the argument, but I'm sorry. Embiid every night is like 30 and 10.
Yeah,
on both ends of the court too.
Yeah,
he's playing defense,
and blocking shots.
Yeah.
Well, one of the key plays the other night obviously the 3-pointer was the huge one because he made the three. But how about that block on Gobert?
Right, and the block on Donovan Mitchell. When Donovan Mitchell pulls up right in the middle of the lane, get out of here.
Yeah. And Gobert is one of the best defensive players in the league, and Embiid straight up cooked them.
Oh, that's the best defender in the
was
league.
Great.
No one's gonna stop.
Yeah, they say he's the best. They say he's the top big man in the league.
Yeah, they tried that.
I think, and he's a center doing all this too. It's how many centers could dominate like that and shoot three like that? I mean, I was going that way now.
Fadeaways.
Yeah,
I've never seen. I mean, I'm not that old, you guys would know more, but I've never seen a center who could just step back, pull up for three like that, 7 foot tall.
I haven't either. The Elijah one would have been the closest one, but Elijah one couldn't hit three.
I was gonna say, could he pull it? Right, I was gonna say, could he pull it back to there?
Because he didn't have to.
No,
He basically didn't have to, right?
Yeah.
He had other people to shoot the threes. You know, they really didn't play too much with that.
Yeah, the game wasn't.
No, they didn't.
Yeah,
Right. There's without question it's Embiid. I mean, Embiid is doing things that Chamberlain used to do.
Mhm.
I mean, you look at those box scores and the things he's doing. It's just mind blowing. 40 points, 19 rebounds. What was it like 4 or 5 games ago? He had 40 some points, like 18 rebounds, 4 blocks.
Yeah, he's got 5 40-point, 10 rebound games, and the rest of the league has 4 combined.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a man amongst boys.
Yep.
So you gotta agree, it gotta come from the coaching, right?
Oh, definitely. Without a doubt. I mean, this team,
He's like a whole different person now.
it is. Yeah,
He's like a whole different person.
just
He
like
doesn't talk
Simmons.
much.
Simmons is a whole different person.
100%.
Well, another part of the coaching too is look at the overtime. Embiid got them the overtime.
Mhm.
Doc Rivers saw a mismatch with whoever was guarding Tobias, and
Bogdanovich.
they went to Tobias all overtime, and Tobias
Put 11
10.
11 points.
Yep.
Mhm.
Took over. Yeah.
Well, with Embiid playing so well, the concern with Embiid is always his longevity. So, do you push all the chips in this year? Do you go? I mean, there's Kyle Lowry's out there. Would you trade a Maxey and a couple picks to get Lowry? I'll tell you the move I want to do, and I don't know if it's attainable because the move I think would really help us, because I don't think Levine's attainable. I think that's a pipe dream because Chicago's got a chance to make the playoffs. So if I'm the Bulls, why am I going to trade Zach
I
Levine?
read something that was like per source, Sixers are doing anything they can to pursue Zach Levine.
Yeah, but I don't see Chicago.
Me
giving him
neither.
up.
I agree.
I saw a rumor of Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart.
Yeah.
I think
I like that.
I think it's funny. A few years ago, I hated Lonzo Ball. I couldn't stand him.
Yeah.
But he's shooting like 38% from 3, and I feel like he might be the perfect move.
I saw one today. Proposed rumor that Sixers to Dallas. Sixers would send Green, Howard, this year's first round pick, and next year's second round pick, which is from the Knicks. We get back Tim Hardaway Jr. and Willie Cauley-Stein. Willie Cauley-Stein is 27, backup center, 7 feet, can play the 4.
Rim protector.
Strictly rim protector.
Yep.
Hardaway's averaging 18 points a game.
Yeah.
So you're getting another shooter, which is which is something we really could use.
Yeah, because Green looking old right now.
Green's looking real old.
Yeah, he's just old.
I don't know where that came from.
I
but-
can't stand him in that starter spot, man. Every time
No.
I see him on lineup, I'm like, oh.
I mean, with a Hardaway, you could plug him right in.
But Dwight playing pretty good. So.
I know.
Yeah.
Believe me, I like him.
Yeah.
But I mean, but at this point, he's 35. Yeah. So it begs the question. I mean, can you get you're down the playoffs? You're looking for somebody to come in and play 10 minutes a night to back up Embiid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Cauley.
Well,
He
Cauley-Stein
could do that, and Simmons. You could even play Simmons at the small 5.
Right.
They're on the younger side, right? Hardaway and Cauley-Stein.
Oh yeah, they're only 26, 26 years old.
So they'll probably be here.
So you're getting rid
long-term,
of Green's 33, and Howard's 35 with major histories of injuries, especially his back.
Mhm.
But I mean, I love Howard because he bangs.
Yeah.
He's intense. He's
If
tough
we can
inside.
get young,
I like that.
If we're giving up
Yeah.
all that, and I prefer someone that's actually on the younger side,
So do I.
especially giving up picks and Maxey and all. I would want someone like younger, like Ball. And
Yeah.
like that's going to be here longer than just a rental.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to see. No, I mean, as much as I like Lowry, but I mean,
Yeah, he's 35, right?
Now,
Exactly.
to Joe's point, though, if you're concerned about Embiid's longevity, Kyle Lowry, he just won a championship, 2 years ago? I think he still has some elite ball in him. So I feel like if you go with Lowry, you're pushing your chips in for the next two years and then hoping you can re-sign him for another 2 years.
Yeah.
Right?
depending on what you.
He's had some injury issues lately, hasn't he? Too, right?
He's got
Not major.
nothing major. I mean, he's missed a few games this year, but I mean, I think he's still scoring like 20 a night.
Yeah.
So he's still.
Who would you guys say is untouchable? How many guys on this team are untouchable?
2. Embiid and Ben.
Would you
Yeah.
trade?
You-
what
you-
about Shake?
You would trade Tobias?
Everyone else on the
I
team,
would trade-
if
I
it's
would
going to
trade
make
Shake
us
Milton.
better, they're
You would?
available.
What about Tobias?
Yeah, he's
Oh yeah,
available.
Tobias too. We need him.
But if
Yeah.
if it took like if it took Tobias to bring someone like Zach LaVine in,
Then I do
then
it.
so he's not untouchable.
Yeah,
I would say
yeah.
2 guys in this team are untouchable and beat Ben. Everyone else, if it's going to make us better, it can be moved.
I wouldn't trade him for someone that's like 35 and a rental. I wouldn't.
Exactly. I
I
wouldn't
Me
either.
neither.
I agree
We
with
did.
Paul.
I think they're the
Chance.
big three. I think they are a big three: Tobias, Simmons, and Embiid. I look at them as our big three.
See, the only thing I want to trust Tobias in like the big moments. I don't know if I can yet. I gotta see it. I gotta like. I know like
You guys
11,
showed
like
it
Joe
this
said,
year,
11 points in
though.
the overtime. I'm talking about like playoff time. Come playoff time, you're gonna do that for us on the floor. Same with Ben. Ben disappears in overtime too. So or in the playoffs too. That's really what we have to see to make that decision. You know what I mean?
Good point. Yeah, I remember Tobias and Simmons.
Yeah,
last year
yeah.
playoffs
Just disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay,
What you
Bob.
got, Bob?
So I got a couple things. I got a couple people checking in now. We have Bob Sullivan. Embiid going to the free throw line more than anyone and hitting high 80s, putting others in foul trouble.
That's probably his number one attribute.
And then someone by the name of Pat Bernard
Hey.
is saying Embiid is MVP hands down.
He's right.
I mean,
agree.
check the tapes. Did he ever say at the beginning of the season that Embiid wasn't? He flip flops all the time. Anyway, Patrick Bernard checking in again. I don't want it. Howard has been playing great in the paint, and plus he has great playoff experience. You need that leadership in the postseason, which I would agree with.
Yeah, I have to admit I'm not in love with that Dallas trade. I mean, I like Tim Hardaway Jr., but Willie Cauley-Stein to me, he the only thing he has over Howard is that he's younger and he's a good shot blocker. But I like the way Howard's playing too. I'd rather if I'm going to make a move, I'd rather do something else. I mean, I'm not saying that's not my favorite move.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
agree.
do you think Hardaway and Cauley Stein going to push us over the top? I don't know.
No.
No, well, the other thing is it doesn't. I feel like we need a secondary ball handler too.
Yeah.
And Tim Hardaway Jr. is not a secondary ball handler. But I mean, the only thing with Willie Cauley-Stein is he's young, so he gives you a legit backup to Embiid the next like 2, 3, 4 years.
Right.
Yeah. Now, would you give it to Seth?
Possibly. I
Yeah.
mean,
He's been declining too.
yeah, but he's such a good shooter. See, that's the only problem. Like he's,
Off
like
the bench,
like Diego said, the only 2 guys. And I'm pretty close to saying Tobias is untouchable too. I mean, the only way I would move Tobias is if it was to get like a Zach LaVine,
Right. Or Bradley
In some-
Beal.
in
Like that's
some
the
sort
only
of
way.
that's the only
Yeah.
way. But I mean, Tobias he's so effective in Doc Rivers' system. I'd hate to give him
Like
up.
you said, you see how he did in overtime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I also feel like Doc knows when to go to him.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like he was looking at that mismatch all game and he was like, I'm gonna take advantage of that eventually. And then
Yeah.
by all time came, he was like, all right, they're not stopping that. And then he just went to it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think so too. Tobias, man, he stepped his game up this year too.
yeah.
Oh yeah, big
Yeah.
time.
When is the trade deadline coming up?
I think it's like March 20 something. I think I forget. You know what? I have to look that up.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe Diego could look it up. But yeah, I mean, I also saw the Larry Nance Jr.
Yeah, heard
is
that
out
too, yeah.
rumors.
Yeah,
out
I
there.
didn't like that either though. Like what's
Neither.
he doesn't hit threes.
Well, he's not bad this year.
He's a good defender. I
Yeah.
feel like he's athletic, good defender, can
Well,
run the break with
You
Ben
just, you just
Simmons.
said he's
but-
not bad. Why would we want him?
Wait, what's that?
You just said he's not bad, so why would we want him?
Right.
I don't know. I'm hoping PJ Tucker on the buyout market, and then I'm hoping another move. Like my like I said, my ultimate move, even though I don't want to give Maxey up, would be like Lonzo Ball and Josh Hart, because I feel like Josh Hart's got some dog in him. He plays hard. You know what I mean? He's aggressive. He kind of reminds me of like Lowry a little bit.
He's
got
come back
that-
home too.
So
Villanova.
basically, Joe, what you think we need?
I think we need a secondary ball handler that could hit some shots. And maybe like a stretch 4,
Yeah.
like off the bench, like because
Definitely bench.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
when Tobias isn't on the floor, they have nobody. They have no stretch 4. Like unless occasionally Mike Scott hits a couple shots, they don't have that guy.
I'll
Yeah,
be
that's
honest
true.
with you. I would argue that a bench player is more important right now than that scorer. the way that they are scoring, the way that Tobias Harris is playing.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, you need another one, but would you argue that same thing? Would you agree?
No, well, yeah. I mean,
the most important need now is a solid bench player.
I think they need both.
But it has to be a bench player that can handle the ball. You know, like we have to have that secondary handler who can give Ben Simmons them 10 minutes in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Well, that'll be Seth, right?
He's not. His strength isn't really handling the ball.
Like he's not a playmaker. He can handle the ball and find his own shot, but he's not like he's not going to like find the open guy in the corner. He's not going to intimidate the other team with the ball in his hand.
TJ McConnell.
I think TJ McConnell would have been great on this team, but I feel like Kyle Lowry. You know, Ben goes to the bench. Kyle Lowry's running. You got a starting point guard still running this offense. You know, you can give Ben break. You can run Lowry and Embiid together. You know, give Embiid break, run Lowry, Ben together. I feel like he fits, kind of like Lonzo. You know, Lonzo fits too because he can run. He fit.
So the main purpose basically is to beat the Nets, right?
Yeah, I'm very concerned about the Nets, man. Especially with the buyout market.
If we make it to the playoffs, we're gonna beat the Nets in 6. Don't even worry about it. I'm gonna tell you why. Because they don't have a bench.
They don't have a bench. Exactly.
They're not going to need it to come playoff time.
You saying that right? The way the team is now, go beat them in 6.
Yep.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't agree either.
You don't agree?
No, I don't.
Why?
Because I feel like when you come playoff time, your bench really goes to what, 7 people? With the Nets, going to be a really short bench. They're going to come and alleviate these guys for 2-3 minutes, and they're going to be right back out there. So I feel like our 5 isn't going to outscore their 5.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We got Simmons out there playing hella for defense. Only person you basically got to worry about is Durant, tell you the truth.
That's true. You James Harden now?
Simmons got him.
Yo, man, the Eagles.
It's a 7-game series. I mean, that's what out there. I think Sixers can beat them in like a dogfight kind of series in a 7-game series. 6 games a little easy.
If you
I'm telling you, we're gonna have home field most likely, and we keep playing the way we playing. You see how we did? Look how we did Utah.
That's true. But then we lost to Utah.
Let them get there. We're gonna get them in the end. You know,
they self-imploded with Donovan Mitchell at the end there too, man. The 2 technical fouls got tossed.
Yeah,
in overtime.
Ben put the clamps on Donovan Mitchell.
You heard they got fined, right?
Yeah, you told him that. Keep crying. Get out of here.
I saw a lot.
Keep crying.
There was so many Utah fans crying. Like one dude made a comment. I just told him, I said, take that L. And by the way, MJ didn't push off.
Yeah.
Take that L.
Donovan Mitchell took 34 shots. And he's crying. He took 34 shots.
Wrestling hit you back. Hey, what you mean by that?
What about Larry Nance Jr.?
I'd like that.
Yeah, we were just talking about that a little bit ago. I mean, I'm okay with it. It just depends. That can't be the main move.
No, not the main move. But I'm saying as a player coming in
conjunction with getting somebody else.
Like
I mean,
ball in at Josh Hart.
I mean that would be a great. Yeah, I don't know how they could do it. I mean, I don't know salary cap wise how that would work, but yeah, I mean, if some type of if it was some type of 3-way deal and they wound up with Larry Nance Jr., Josh Hart, and Lonzo Ball, I think that would really put us closer.
That'd be a really good team.
So the Heat, Celtics, and Celtics are among the teams who are interested.
Mm-hmm.
Watch out for the Heat, man.
The Heat scare me for some reason.
Certain assets.
Speaking of the Heat, my uncle Bob Sullivan commented. He said, "We keep Butler and we don't have any of these conversations." And I'll tell you what, I totally agree.
Yeah, but he didn't want to be here.
No, I understand.
That's because Brett Brown.
I forgot. I kind of forget about play because he don't want to be. He didn't want to be here.
Yeah, he didn't want. He didn't want to be with. I mean,
Brett Brown.
But then again, we wouldn't have Doc River. Yeah, I guess.
No, I agree with Paul.
I just wish we had a time machine. I wish we could transport Jimmy Butler here now.
That's right.
That's what we need.
Exactly what we need.
I agree with Paul. You know, like he probably would be here if it wasn't for Brett Brown.
Yeah.
You know, Brett Brown
a lot of issues there.
Yeah, a lot of issues there.
Brett Brown trash. Every time that's my new rule. Every time we bring up Brett Brown, I go trash.
Trash.
Right.
Sucked.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, if you had Ball on this team, I mean, defensively, you would put out there Embiid, Simmons, Ball, and Thibault. I mean, that is formidable.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but I'm sure people are going to ask for Thibault in trade. Probably no.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I guess it depends on which way you go. You know, I hate the thoughts of giving him up because he's the kind of guy you need when you play the Nets.
I was reading an article where if you wanted Thibault, it would take like a lottery pick to get him. That's like what potential teams think he has.
Look, if we get Lowry, we might as well start planning for a parade. If we get Lowry, we're going to the chip and we're going to win it.
I feel like
so you think so then you must think we should do it then.
But what we going to give up for him?
Well, what if it's
a lot, man.
what if it's what if it's Maxey, Danny Green for salary,
and 2 future firsts,
and a couple future firsts? I love Maxey, so
I do too.
But I think I'd do it though.
I'd do it too for that. Yeah,
but I would give up Shake.
Yeah, I would give up Shake.
If they said Green, Shake, and two firsts for Lowry, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, but Archie,
I would.
Yeah, but aren't you weakening your already weak bench by giving up Shake?
That's what I mean.
He can score 18, 20 points. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm
but
saying.
You're going to move Seth to the bench.
Then maybe you move Seth to the bench, or maybe you get another guy in buyout. There might be a guy in buyout, or the guy from the Pistons,
DeLon
Wright. Maybe you can get somebody like that.
I'm just saying that can't be the only move if that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, Ellington. Yeah, Ellington. You might be able to get Ellington for like a couple second round picks or something. I mean, there's guys you could get. I mean, do I want to give up? I love Shake, but I mean, if he's what it takes to get over the top, I mean, goodbye, dude. Say it.
I agree.
I'll do whatever it takes to try to win.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean,
that makes sense.
I mean, we sat. Yeah, but but it's also catch-22 because I don't want to go all in this year, and then all of a sudden we have no moves to make the next couple years.
That's why we need Maxey.
Mm-hmm.
We'll need he's a future guard. I think so.
Well, let me ask you this, Joe. Is this team? This team's like different from our Flyers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is this team win now? Like this is like 1 player away, 2 player away.
Yeah.
Then I would make if it's going to make you better, that trade, like a trade's going to make you better for the next couple years, then I would absolutely do it. And if you're 1 piece away, and even if you're renting him, I would absolutely do it.
Yeah, I think that's why you bring in a guy like Daryl Morey to begin with. You feel like you have a team that's really close. You bring in this guy who has good relationships around the league that can bring in pieces that are going to put you over the top. You know what I mean? I feel like we're right there. 1 player, 2 players, and B's an MVP. You put a solid team around him, you could beat anybody.
You know what's interesting though? This team can still not win on the road. I mean,
they still struggle on the road.
I mean, what are they, 16-3 at home and 8-9 on the road, or something like that? I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, what is it?
They don't like to travel, I guess.
Just secure that first round.
It's not like you're playing in this hostile environment.
I know,
right?
I know.
So we got Pat Bernard checking in again and again. You put Shake Milton in the starting lineup. Yes, Will Franklin, Tobias Harris is the X factor.
Yes.
And Pavel Luko is right. Everyone wants Thibault, youth, and great defensive game.
Exactly.
I would rather. That's the thing, though. I like having Simmons, Thibault. I feel
like
Simmons' defense is like big.
Yeah, that's key against the Nets.
That's key.
Put 2 guys out there that can one can go up against KD, the other one can go up against Kyrie. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's
the 04 Pistons. Nobody thought they had a chance to beat the Lakers, the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, and the Pistons took them out in 5 because the Pistons had Ben Wallace and Depth and all those guys on defense.
Yeah.
So that stories like that.
Who was their coach?
Larry Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to come down to Brooklyn. And the Sixers. We ain't keep them out. We ain't keeping the calendar coaching.
Right.
That's this rookie coach.
That's a good point.
Well, coming in and
rookie
beating
coach, no bench.
Yeah.
Your big 3 playing 40 minutes a night.
Right. Oh, that's what I'm saying.
And the other thing is too is great as Brooklyn is, and it's scary that they're playing so good without like KD. But then KD tore his Achilles last year. I mean, and Diego's point, they're going to be playing 40 minutes a night. I mean, sometimes you can't just flip a switch and go from sitting and chilling all year.
Absolutely
and
right.
then all of a sudden you're playing 40 minutes a night in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean,
why is he out now anyway? I don't even know why Durant is out.
Calf injuries.
Nagging things. But see, that's what happens when guys get older. They start getting nagging
especially when
things.
you tear an Achilles.
Achilles, yeah.
Because that's how it started. He had a calf injury, and he came back with Golden State.
And then he tore his Achilles.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, they're playing TLC.
Walu camera.
They're starting him like some nights. So I mean, it's
Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but
they
all-
just
Strike
went on.
fear in anybody's
They
heart.
just went on a West Coast trip without KD, starting Timothy Lawal and Cabarrot, and they ran right through the West.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I totally understand everything you're saying, but I'm just talking about them I'm talking about them ramping up and going from load management to all of a sudden trying to beat a deep Sixers team.
Right.
Especially if the Sixers make like a Kyle Lowry move, then they got to take the Sixers 4 out of 7 with Embiid drawing every one of their big men in foul trouble.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be really hard, but it's definitely a winnable series.
See, you know,
Definitely.
earlier you were saying
Definitely.
hockey's not like basketball or basketball. You need one player to get hot. Well, I feel like when you got James Harden and Kyrie Irving,
It's
you know,
true.
even without KD,
Yeah,
they
Kyrie
only got to get hot
Irving.
4 times out of 7 games.
Kyrie Irving is the best guard in the league right now.
And the best finisher at the basket. Kyrie Irving is ridiculous. You watch him play.
Forget Steph Curry, man. Kyrie Irving is that dude right now.
He is that dude right now.
Yeah.
Steph Curry's playing at MVP level too, though.
Yeah, he
Look at his
is.
numbers. Steph
He
Curry's
is.
ridiculous too.
But he ain't gonna. You see how Kyrie play, man?
His handles.
You also
Yeah.
Crazy. And he can finish.
Yeah, that team really scared me.
you also got to figure too what they're going to do in the buyout market too. If Griffin goes there, or other players that go there, they may load up for a run. So
You know, Blake Griffin
Might get
hasn't made a
tougher.
dunk this year.
Yeah,
Not a dunk. He has no athleticism left.
Blake Griffin doesn't. Blake Griffin doesn't concern me. Andre Drummond would
concerns
concern me because
Yeah.
Andre Drummond has size.
Is Griffin playing?
yeah,
I haven't seen him.
Well,
Got bought out.
they bought him out. So I think they wanted to play him and risk him like getting hurt or whatever. You know, maybe they were trying to trade him before the buyout.
now he's rumored to go to the Nets.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
But that doesn't like you said. That doesn't scare me too much. Blake Griffin's not that player anymore.
No,
You
he's
know?
not.
Same.
Andre Drummond goes to the
Andre
Nets.
Drummond scares me because he gives them an element they don't have.
Yeah,
Right.
he's one of the top rebounding guys in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And
It all depends what they do.
He
in the
likes
buyout
the
market.
body, you know, like he has no problem banging down there with Embiid. He has big size, he's strong, he can get boards. That move would scare me. That would
Yeah, I think so.
nobody would beat the Nets. They get out there Drummond.
Yeah. Speaking of older, like old players and old teams, I saw some interesting Eagles news this week. As far as, did you notice like Howie Roseman and all the restructuring and stuff he's doing? Like, it looks like they're bringing Brandon Graham back, restructured. Kelsey's coming back. So the $80 million in cap space that we thought they were going to have next year, looks like they're kind of kicking it to the can. What's your thoughts on that? Do you are you in support of trying to keep some of these guys and try to be competitive this year, or would you have preferred just doing a clean slate and just tanking?
No, I like the Kelsey coming back, especially if Jalen Hurts is going to be our starter. And then Brandon Graham always been productive, regardless. So I think those two are key. But I heard about they want to keep Derek Barnett.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
So they basically keeping everybody, right?
Yeah, well,
Well, not really. They go Alshon and Sean.
Ertz will probably get traded, but they're reworking. I think they're going to rework Cox's contract. BG, Kelsey's coming
Darius Slay.
back. Darius Slay.
So they're basically gonna keep the same team. So I'm glad I'm not an Eagles fan.
Yeah, but if you get them players at a cheaper price, they wouldn't look as bad as they look right now on that same contract. You know what I mean?
Man, look,
I do agree with you. You got to
I'm not an Eagles fan, but look, I watch them. I'm a football fan. I mean, they still play for my city. But look, I don't agree on tanking, no.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, no, because for one, nobody knows what they want to do. Jalen Hurts is the future of the Eagles, no matter what. That's what I think. So I think basically they should just start building around him. They could still gonna bring back Alshon Jeffries, right? They probably gonna bring him back for what?
No, I think he's gone.
I feel like bringing back Kelsey and like all these guys.
Kelsey,
is
'cause he
to
the
protect Jalen Hurts, though. It is to see like what you got with these, like what you got in them, right?
Right, that's true.
You're not going like a whole bunch of rookies in the line or drafting for your offensive line. You're bringing back veterans
Yeah, I
to put
agree
in
with
front
that.
of Jalen Hurts, to
Yeah.
give him a little bit more protection. Second year with these guys, I feel like they are trying to.
So I think y'all need to build on defense.
Yeah, that's where we got to
I
get.
think y'all
defense.
y'all need another defensive end or something.
Oh, they need an edge rusher. That guy.
Yes,
That guy's
that's
from
what I'm saying.
University of Miami. His name escapes me, but he's
I think his name's Russo or something.
6'6". He had 19 and a half sacks.
Wow.
I mean, he's a beast. I mean, he would.
Well,
He would look sharp and even green.
if we were to trade down from, I think he's supposed to go maybe like 12, 13, 14 area, something like that. Like, I mean, if we were to trade down from 6 to maybe like 12, like say San Francisco wants to move up and get a young quarterback or something like that, that could be something to keep an eye on.
Oh, I agree.
So you think y'all should trade down?
I would strongly consider it.
Yeah,
So,
I would. You could get a
Although-
good first round pick, and you could get another second when you add the points up.
if you move from like 6 to 12, you could possibly get a 2 this year and the team's 1 next year. And then next year you have a possibility of 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, that sounds good. It don't,
Yeah,
make,
that's
it
not a
don't
bad
make
move.
much. It don't make much sense for the Eagles
Can Howie Roseman
because they know
afford-
they're not going to do it.
If
They're going
one
to
of
take
the-
that tight end.
if one of these star wide receivers fall to you, Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, can Howie Roseman afford to pass on one of these guys and miss on wide receiver again?
Yeah. Well,
After all the misses there.
if Kyle Pitts is sitting there, I think that's who I want. Kyle Pitts.
Nah, I don't. I
They're gonna
want
take
I want Jamar Chase.
I think Pitts is the kind of guy you can a lot of this NFL right now is like positionless football.
Yeah.
And like you watch the Kansas City Chiefs, like what they do with Kelsey. Every single week, the opposing defense has to figure out, okay, they have Tyreek Hill too. Maybe they're not the best example, but every week they have to figure out where's Kelsey lining up. I feel like you could do the same type of thing with Kyle Pitts. He's a matchup nightmare. And then the number one thing too is in the red zone. The guy is unstoppable in the red zone. I mean, I've seen so many of his highlights.
He's a beast.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the number one thing in football, if you look, most of these teams, the difference between like 5 and 6 wins and like 10 or 11 wins is literally turnovers and red zone production. Every team, you look at the Chargers last year. The Chargers had a losing record. If you go back, they were winning most of those games. Chargers were probably 4 or 5 plays away from being 11 or 12 win team. And that's the kind of stuff that makes a difference on a football team. So
Yeah,
if I got a chance to get that dude, I'm like,
should take him. So you think you should take Pitts?
For me, it's I'd have a real hard dilemma because I really like him, but I also really like the value of having 3 1s and 22 and still getting a productive guy at 12. If I'm sitting there in GM, I'd have a real hard time figuring that because that's hard. That's hard. That's a lot to weigh.
See, I would have. Kyle Pitts is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
You got Dallas Goedert though. You're gonna go.
Yeah.
You really need a wide receiver. You miss on there every single time. You're gonna go and take a tight end when you already have a tight end but don't have any wide receivers. Howie would crucify himself. If Kyle Pitts don't become Travis Kelce.
But I actually think. Don't get me wrong; they do need a wide receiver, but this coach has gotten most of his accolades from working with receivers, and they did draft. I mean, I feel like guys like Quez Watkins has some potential. Hightower has some speed. I don't think we've seen what Rager. I mean, Rager looked terrible last year, but in all fairness, he had horrible quarterback play most of the year. And Doug's offense, Doug never uses like motion. Like if you watch, they literally lined Rager up and just had him stand there. I feel like if you put him in motion, he might be more effective.
Exactly.
You have some
Get off the
people.
line fast.
You have some people checking in here. Bob Sullivan. I like McShay's mock draft. We move back no more than 4 picks to get a tight end or one of the top 3 wideouts. Get another second pick.
Mm-hmm.
Bernard again is checking in. This team is buried underneath the basement. Howie Roseman and Lowry will screw up the draft like they screw up my fandom life.
That's why I think he takes.
You see what I
whoever's
mean?
Supposed to be taken there.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like Howie takes whoever's supposed to be taken there
So, but
because he misses and misses and misses.
I think I agree with Pat because I have no faith in Howie. I just have no faith in the guy.
Right.
He's gonna screw
Right.
it up. It's like when I was a young guy, my his grandfather used to always say to me, "Son, you could screw up a piece of ass." I still don't know what that means. I'm going to be 65 years old. I don't know what that means. But that's Howie Roseman in the war room.
But
Right.
yeah, you also have oh, hold on, 1, 2, 3. Okay. You also have Bob Sullivan again, Pitts, or the top 3 wideouts. Obviously, there isn't a clear consensus, so might as well move back, but not too far.
Yeah, that's kind of where
Let me ask you this though: if Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith is there, do you move back?
No.
You take one of them.
It depends on the offer. Like I said, if I'm getting a 2 and a following 1 next year, then I probably am. Pitts is the guy that if he's there, I might be like, I think I really need to take this guy.
And we still need a wide receiver.
Can Pitts line up in the wide receiver spot too, or he's just strictly tight
Yes.
end?
From what I hear, the kid is fast.
Yeah, but
from what I hear, he doesn't do anything on the offensive line now. Like he's just like getting the receiver. Well, who's a better receiver, Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts?
Yeah, but
I'd say take that. If Kyle Pitts is, Kyle Pitts is that better receiver.
I'm looking at the way I don't know. I feel like I look at it a little differently. Like I'm not necessarily looking at wide receiver, tight end. I'm looking at who's going to make me be like a 85% percentage in the red zone. And I feel like Kyle Pitts is that guy. Because to me, I feel like the way the NFL is set up, most teams are going to move the ball in between the 20s, and it's all about getting those touchdowns. If you're getting field goals, you're going to lose.
If you look at Jalen Hurts' numbers, that one thing he was number 1 in the league in last year was throwing passes 10+ yards.
Mm-hmm. So
your tight end's coming across 5, 7 yards,
true.
5, 7 yards. Jalen Hurts, the way I see him playing, he wants to get out the pocket and he wants to get the ball down the field.
Yeah,
and that's going to be getting. And the best help you're going to get for that kind of quarterback is, in my opinion, the best receiver available.
Yeah, well, I mean, either way, you can't go wrong. I like I said, I feel like Quez Watkins might show something. I like the last couple games, especially that Arizona game, he started to show.
How about the one when he turned, he ran that big touchdown and told everyone peace?
I feel like he's got some potential. He was the second fastest guy in the draft last year.
Yeah, I feel like he's had to put on some weight because he was really like undersized coming out of where do you go, Southern Miss or something like that. And
they better hit on one of those wide receivers though. They have to hit.
From last year.
From last year,
yeah, he took a lot.
Because I don't think Jalen Reagor. I look, it's too early. I'm not going to sit here and be all like, give up on the guy. But he just, I mean, the line sucked, but it just didn't seem like he could get open.
That's what I mean. He wasn't blowing anyone off the ball.
Yeah, he wasn't doing any of that.
To where like Justin Jefferson, all them other receivers that were taking high, they were just blowing everybody off the ball. They were open all the time. Jalen Reagor wasn't.
I think what you have in Jalen Reagor is like, I guess like a glorified Nelson Aguilar. Like he can catch the ball. No, I'm serious.
Hopefully it's Nelson Aguilar just played last year in the Raiders.
He
looked like a beast.
I mean,
the Super Bowl year.
He can catch the ball, but like you said, he's not blowing anyone off the ball. He's not fast. So really, what they're going to do is they're going to probably end up moving him to the slot,
right?
And hopefully they draft or do something with this. But I'm telling you, man, I thought Megan Anderson was going to win last night. She got beat the hell up by Nunez.
That was quick.
But, I mean, I just feel like I'm the same way. Like, I don't trust what they're doing. Like, I almost feel that if there's a wide receiver there, they're not going to match. They're either trading back or they're picking the safe pick, which is a wide receiver.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's
to help out Jalen Hurts.
One of those two things. Yep.
Yeah, there's a kid from University of Minnesota. I can't remember his name, but he's
Minnesota.
What's that?
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Minnesota. Mike Dodano.
But he's moving up a lot of draft boards because I think he ran like a 4.3 or something like that. He's like 6'2". So I mean, if they move down, but that makes me a little nervous because if Howie moves down and gets him, he'll probably be this year's Jalen Reagor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the. I mean, you're right. It's.
I mean,
it's unnerving.
Howie's the smartest guy in the room. And as long as you have that mentality and you have Jeff Lurie giving him the blessing.
Well, that's how Jeff Lurie told
a
him.
recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I still think he made a good pick though with Jalen Hurts. My honest.
To be determined.
I'm telling you,
coming
man.
from a Falcon fan.
Hey, at least we fired out coach and the GM at the same time. Both y'all out of here.
Yeah, refresh.
But I think Jalen Hurts is your future, man. Like, I understand what the discrepancy is about. He's a good player. I wish we had him. Like, we'll take him and get y'all Matt Ryan. How about that?
I'm willing.
I feel like
Matt Ryan was number one, top 3 in passing.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Hey,
But then they lose like 35-34.
Right.
Yeah.
Defense, man.
I know.
All that
But
stuff. We need a lot of help too.
Look, I'm willing to give him a full season and a full training camp to come around. Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
But he just didn't show me anything last year. Nothing.
He got that confidence, man, and he got the confidence back in that team. And he walks around, talk to everybody on the team, and saying, let's go, man. Y'all need that. When you had when y'all had your other quarterback was just sitting on the side, just
Pouting.
pouting and stuff, man. Jalen Hurts is like, yo, I'm glad to see some.
everybody.
Yeah, I'm glad to see some smiles on y'all faces now.
Mhm.
Y'all need that, man, for
Yeah.
real. I think it's y'all in the rebuild stage. What y'all think?
We're definitely in a rebuild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
they call it
they have-
retool, right? That's
I
what they call
want
it,
to
Yeah.
retool.
Retool, yeah.
I want to bring this to your attention too, because they have now I think it's a little less because they're restructuring, which is another thing I want to ask you. But
Mhm.
first things first, they have like $75 million under the cap next year, and then 130 something million the following year. So, I mean, I understand the rebuild this year. I think you're going to take a hit this year.
Yeah.
Next year is going to be rough, man. Like, it's going to be bad. And I don't know if it's going to be as bad as most people say it is, because I really
that's
do.
right,
If the offensive line's coming back, they're not horrible. Like, I'm talking about the starters, not the patchwork stuff that they were doing.
Right.
I think I don't think it's going to be as bad, but it's going to be tough.
Well, the offensive line and the defensive line both have a chance to be good. So if that's the
Absolutely.
case, and if Jalen Hurts can play, I mean, how bad are we going to suck?
Well, I think we're clearing all
Yeah.
this money right now, restructuring all these contracts. So we can sign, let's say, 3 solid starters for free agency. Football's a funny sport. With 2-3 signings, you can get right back into competing every Sunday.
Well,
You know?
yeah. Well, and especially if, say, one of them's like a young safety, like maybe a Malik Hooker,
Right.
Right, he comes in here, he's effective. Say one of them is a decent enough corner to play with Slay.
Right.
Is the defense that terrible if you do that?
No, it's not.
You just have
Okay.
a linebacker core. That's
Yeah,
Right.
linebacker.
The
definitely.
linebacker. That's what you got to
Well, that's another. I mean, there's some, maybe they're clearing up space. Sometimes you can get a younger linebacker that's on the cusp, that's unknown. Like I always bring up the example of Nigel Bradham. Who the hell knew who Nigel Bradham
Right.
was till he came here
Well,
in
I feel like
2016?
I feel like we have to see who Davion Taylor is. We
Okay.
used a high pick on him, a third round pick on him last year.
Mhm.
We didn't see much of him last year, but he also didn't play a lot of high school football. He really didn't start playing like competitive every week until college. So maybe they just been grooming him, working with him, and
And you got
You
Sean,
have to
and you
hope,
got the guy Bradley from Temple.
Bradley, yeah, Sean Bradley, who didn't play a lot last year.
What about Singleton? You guys like him?
I mean, he's a tackling machine, but he's horrible in coverage.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's like a first and second down line.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's now that Schwartz is gone, you may see more attention paid to that position.
Mhm.
Because Schwartz was always, I have to have my 4 guys up front. I don't blitz.
I'm glad he's gone.
Who y'all replaced him yet?
Yeah, John. His name's I think Jonathan Gannon. We're going to play a lot more like cover 2 Tampa style defense, which
Okay.
one of my biggest criticisms of Schwartz was like I hated the way he played his corners. He'd have his corners playing like so off the wide receivers, and the strength of our team was the pass rush. So we'd have this really good pass rush, but he'd always give up these easy completions because they'd be playing so off.
Yeah,
So I think this guy plays a little bit more press coverage, and maybe if they're doing that, maybe the D line can work, can get there
Right.
earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to. You know what? This is not going to happen, but I have to bring this up because I read it the other day.
Mhm.
Just a question of a would you? So some no-name guy, I forget his name, it's probably total BS, but there was a report that the Eagles were talking to Seattle. Probably every team's talking to Seattle
Yeah.
for Russell Wilson. Simple would you question. Would you trade Hurts and your number 1 this year and both number 1s next year if you were getting Russell Wilson, and just say screw the draft and just go forward with Russell Wilson? Would you do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
that's a no-brainer.
Okay. Well,
In a
to some people they wouldn't. Like I was on Facebook, and I have those Jets tickets. I'm on this page or whatever, and all these Jets fans, they had a question. Peter Schrager brought up. He said, "Would you trade Quinnen Williams, Sam Darnold, Mims, and then both their first-round picks for Deshaun Watson?" Now I know that's a lot to give up.
But yeah, you gave that up in a second.
But
Sure.
all right, every single Jets fan was like, "You can't do that. That's too much, right?" And I wrote, I wrote, all day, every day.
That's why Jeff won everything.
Yeah, I was like,
Exactly.
you haven't had a quarterback in-
Exactly.
you haven't had a quarterback
Exactly.
in 50 years. You haven't had a quarterback, right?
It's Joe Namath, huh?
Back in 1983, the Denver Broncos traded like 2 or 3 future Pro Bowl players. Like I think Chris Hinton was one of them, and a few other players. Okay, to get John Elway. You ask one person. Now, I'm not saying that Deshaun Watson's John Elway. That's not where I'm going. But you ask one person in Denver if they wouldn't have made that trade, they don't even know who the dudes are.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. I guess what I'm saying, it's amazing how some fans go, "Oh, I don't want to give that up," and I'm like, "What are you really giving up? You could replace Denzel Mims in free agency. The second Deshaun Watson's better than you're going to get number 2. Probably you're giving up number 21 and Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams is nice, but I couldn't believe all the people were saying they didn't want to do it. I'm like, what are you crazy?
The only good player there is Williams. You don't know what the receiver's going to do.
That's what I'm saying. Like
he hasn't showed anything.
You do.
Only a Jets fan be like, nah, don't do that. It's
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? Don't do that.
I want to keep going forward with lottery tickets. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, you can get a guy that's like a top 5 quarter. I'm just like thinking to myself, that's why you all never win nothing.
It's
Right.
Stick with your Chad Penningtons.
Yeah, Chad Pennington.
Bob, you would do it too, wouldn't you?
What, for Russell Wilson?
Yes.
That's a lot. I mean, it's a lot to give up, especially when like the Eagles have a lot of need.
Well, that's true.
And then you look at that, but I mean, it's Russell Wilson. I mean, I guess you would have to. It's kind of like you would have to find a way with being that much money under the cap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he would be your selling point to get free agents in here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would sit down with Russell Wilson and be like, all right, dude, we're not going to have much for the next 2 years. We're going to pay you. We got to build you the draft. You know, are you with it? You know?
He gonna be like, nope. He gonna say no.
How old is he anyway?
Because he probably want to win a championship.
But then it's like, this says Chicago is like pursuing him the most.
Mhm.
What's he going to have in Chicago?
Yeah.
Are they any better? Chicago's
They're
not
just
much
as
better
good
than
as
us.
Eagles.
Yeah,
exactly.
at least he got a little bit of defense over there.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
think Chicago is much
Robinson's
better
there
than
too,
we
isn't he?
are.
Allen Robinson's still there.
Who says Seattle
I
is
think
an
he's
answer?
going to lose.
Who says Seattle is an answer like your best defensive player back in the trade?
Well,
And anytime you can get a potential Hall of Fame player, you do it.
In his prime.
For example, in 1964, maybe 65, the New York Giants were 1-13.
Mhm.
Right. The next year they went out and they got Frank Tarkenton from the Vikings, and they went to 7-7. No
Okay.
free agency,
Just
didn't have
quarterback.
just the quarterback. Didn't have a stellar draft or anything. But I mean, these were the days where, if you sat in the basement, you sat there for a long time, unless you could get a guy like that.
Right.
yeah.
A guy like that will turn everything around.
Right,
Or
right.
like Paul just said, a guy like Wilson comes here, people are going to want to play with him. The
Yeah.
guy is just he's the best in my opinion. He's the best.
Right.
I take him before anybody.
But the question is, after we pay him, do we have any money left over to get someone to come in here?
Yeah, well, he makes his contract. I think is $35 million through like 2023. So he does make a nice chunk of change. But
Let me ask you this question: they say Dak is possibly going to sign with the Cowboys at $40 million. Would you pay Dak $40 million? Is he worth $40 million? For Mahomes is 45. Is he worth $40 million? I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you've got to be out of your mind.
The way he was playing last year before he got injured was like he was
Out of
playing
his mind.
falling out,
Mhm.
man.
Oh, he's a stud quarterback, but I mean, when I think of a $40 million quarterback, I'd rather have Wilson than I would rather.
Yeah, and he
Aaron
wants to go to
Rodgers,
Dallas.
yeah.
Rodgers. I'd rather have Watson than him.
Yeah, but isn't he coming off a horrendous injury? Who knows how he's going to be when he comes back? Look at Wentz after that injury. So
Are they gonna pay him?
He ripped out his
Or are they going
wheel.
to tag him?
He was-
I think they're good. Well, I think. Yeah, well, you know what? Interesting. If they tag him, is he a free agent next year? I don't know how.
Did they tag him last year?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so you can tag him what, 2 years or
2
3 years?
I forget if
I
it's
think
2 or
it's 2.
3. Yeah. So
Two?
Two, yeah.
Okay. I'd probably, if I was Dallas, instead of paying him $40 million, I'd tag him 1 more year, see if he comes back what Dak was pre-injury. And then if he comes back to what Dak was pre-injury, he was averaging almost like 400 yards a game. I
Right.
feel like you can't not give him his money.
they're loaded with receiver over there. So I mean, as long as he does that, they're going to be pretty good.
yeah, they're backed
Yeah.
into a corner because
Yeah.
they really can't. I mean, you can't let Doc walk.
Exactly. Dallas is like Do I think he's worth $40 million? Who's worth $40 million besides Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion?
Right.
You know what I mean? But
They
Wait.
gave up a boatload of money for Cooper.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean,
Amari
money,
Cooper's getting paid.
and
Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence, or not Trevor Lawrence, their defense end.
DeMarcus.
DeMarcus Lawrence. He gets paid a $90 million contract.
Zeke
Zeke gets paid a lot of money.
Zeke makes
Yep.
a boatload of money.
They're
I mean,
good. They would like to move on from Zeke, I think.
Oh, sure they would.
But who would they take? Who would
Yeah,
they
who's
get?
going to take him for all that money?
Well, I don't think anybody is.
Right.
But I'm saying they probably would like to.
Yeah, yeah.
As good a player as he is, I mean, that kid Pollard looked pretty good.
He
for
did
them
look
last
really
year.
good.
He has fumbling issues anyway, Zeke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's weird because that's new because I don't remember him fumbling that much until last
Nah,
year. Then
man.
all of a sudden he started fumbling all the time.
I think he had like 3 fumbles in his career until last year. We had like 5.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Dallas was just out of sync.
I agree.
Out of chemistry, everything. Man. It was
They
just
brought in,
jacked
and
up.
they brought in the coach from Green Bay,
McCarthy.
McCarthy.
And he's horrible. I think he's like that's one thing that Dallas has
Aaron
so
Rodgers.
much talent, but I think he's a horrible coach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Aaron,
me too.
Aaron Rodgers carried him over there, man.
But believe it.
Uncle Bob's checking in again. Brady is the greatest because he signs team-friendly deals, which allows the teams to sign good players. Hopefully, Dallas pays Dak more than $40 million.
Yeah, he's exactly right. That's why New England won all those years.
He was willing to share. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I get it. I mean, I just you look at. I think Dak was playing really well last year. If they had any type of defense,
They were going to win the division
I'm sure they were.
yeah.
easily. Like they were
Eagles lose to them both times.
Right.
With Dak Prescott.
100%. So I feel like Dallas is back into a corner.
Mhm.
You know, can you just let Dak Prescott walk away, especially if he's playing the football he was pre-injury? That's tough. You know,
Yeah.
they're going
That's
to pay
why
him.
I would
Hopefully they
tag
do pay
him
him.
again.
Hopefully they do pay him. And Dak sucks. You know.
I would tag him again then.
Yeah, that's why I feel you got to tag him, see if he comes back 100% from the injury, and then you take it from there.
But given that injury, does he sign that tender?
But then would you say you did that, you tag him the second time, you can't tag him the third year, he goes in the unrestricted, or he goes in the free
He goes to
agency.
Washington.
He goes to free agency, and then someone outbids you on him. Can you afford that?
Yeah, because who you going to get to replace him?
That's what I mean. So Dallas is really, they might have to just pay him $40 million.
They're drafting a
Well,
quarterback
they
this year.
got
I'm telling
Dalton
you.
over there, though. Dalton.
Were they going to draft Jalen? The rumor has it they were drafting Jalen Hurts if we didn't take him.
Yeah.
Do you think they
I
were?
heard that.
Yeah,
Do you think that's true? Is there merit to that?
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, he's got
Similar
the same
quarterbacks.
kind of similar to Dak. You brought up a good point. I bet you they draft a quarterback this year.
I bet you they do.
That's
And then
it.
they sign. I would sign him to maybe like a 2-3 year deal.
I don't think he'll take that.
I don't think he'll take it either.
He wants his
But I think
longevity,
they're gonna
especially
try.
after that injury.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Dak's
That's what
gonna.
I'm saying though. They can't. I don't think that he's going to allow them to tag him 1 year.
I don't think so either.
I think he's going to turn that down or not sign it.
Can
Yep.
you do that though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to
I
sign
don't.
it.
I don't know though. What
I'm not
the
sure.
franchise tag's $40 million. I mean,
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
I'd run the sign
And
that
it's guaranteed.
because I mean, think about
All of
it.
All of it's guaranteed, right? The
Yeah.
tags, all of it's
Yeah,
guaranteed.
he could sign for $40 million, and then even if he got hurt again, what do you make? 30 some last. So he made $70 million in 2 years. I mean, that's long. That's long term
Yeah,
deal right
that's
there.
longevity
you know?
right there, right?
What
You know what I
pick
mean?
does-
And he
what
could-
pick does Dallas have in the draft?
They're 10. Yeah, they're 10th, and they have needs. Now that would be interesting. They imagine they go quarterback at 10,
Yeah, Trey Lance,
which
flips
Jerry
or something.
Jones do, or maybe Mac Jones.
Or Mac Jones, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mac Jones. I like Mac Jones. I gotta admit, I was watching some tape on him because as soon as they came out with that thing where the one guy said the Eagles taking Mac Jones, I'm like, nah, they can't take Mac Jones.
He's
I
nice.
was like, I want to go with Jalen Hurts, and I do want to go with Jalen Hurts. And I started watching his accuracy, and I'm like,
There's so
I'm
much.
like, boy, he's pretty accurate.
I feel
I
like
like
this
him.
this QB draft strong.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
from the first to the sixth quarterback taken, they're all had potential to be started in this league.
Did you see the kid from Texas A&M? I think his name is Mond. He gets like no hype really, but Chris Sims Jr. was saying that he thinks he's like the second or third best guy.
Right.
So then, so I'm
Late
like,
round pick on him.
like maybe like second, third, fourth round. or
Oh, is that
something.
where they're saying he's going to go?
Hey, but I mean, if he's getting, I mean, you never know though, because once they start doing their individual workouts, guys,
You get
move
bumped up or you get bumped down.
I'll bet you he's a second round pick.
I watched
He's
this.
one quarterback so bad.
I watched this corner from Georgia yesterday, Stokes, ran like a 4.24. He's like 6'3".
Yeah, I
He,
saw that, I
he
saw
made
that,
himself
yeah.
a lot of money.
I was like, whoa! Like, I wouldn't mind a guy like that early in the second round to put it on the other side of Darius Slay.
I'll tell you something. if you're in doubt as a default measure in the draft, all you have to do is just pick guys from the SEC.
Yeah.
That's it. They're the best guys. They're best athletes in the country.
And they play
you got
against the
maybe-
best competition week
best
in, week out.
Exactly. Alabama, LSU, Texas A&M, Georgia, Florida.
Yeah.
You grab those guys. They're the best.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't lose.
No, yeah. They're
Seriously.
recruited that
Yep.
way. You know, they're
Exactly. They're all 4 and 5 star ESPN 4 and 5 star high school players.
all. Yep. Or,
Yeah.
or draft from Ohio State.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, exactly.
how we would rather go University of Washington.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no.
Utah.
No,
Yeah, come on
North
now.
Dakota. North Dakota.
Where'd the firefighter offensive lineman go?
Oh, he
Baylor?
went to Baylor.
Yeah.
Baylor.
Oh, the
The
firefighter.
firefighter.
Oh.
He's fighting fires right now.
I can't. Oh, that he was like already 26 when they
I
drafted
mean,
him.
no,
So we were
man,
like,
I
why?
hate him. Watkins.
Oh, yeah.
Well, before we wrap up here, I just want to get into with the weather getting a little warmer. Hopefully, I mean, not really yet, but we're already in the March. We got Phillies going on right now. Anybody paying attention to what's going on down spring training? I saw Odubel Herrera's back, and he's playing pretty good. Any thoughts on the Phillies and how they may possibly look?
I'm watching a little bit, but it's encouraging to see Moniak starting to step up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I liked, probably, not in the majority, but I think given Odubel a second chance, he could fulfill that center field position and at least a good bat off the bench. He's fast.
Mhm.
I mean, I like that and bringing him back. And I like also the signing the Reds pitcher too, Archie.
Yeah, Archie Bradley.
Archie
yeah,
Bradley,
yeah,
yeah. So, I mean, and also too, I'm glad to see that they're not throwing out those dumpster fires or the 4th and 5th starters anymore, and could at least get some people in here that are, at least give them a chance, but at least not throwing out the same people out there every year and expecting the same, different results. So
Right.
I'd like to see that.
What do you call it? The thing I was looking at, the bullpen guys that they have brought in spring training have been performing very, very well. De Los Santos has come in and he's pitched 2 innings in 2 games. He struck out 6 guys,
Bro.
and he's throwing like a 97.9 fastball. I mean, that's potential closer material.
Yeah.
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 That's encouraging.
And Alvarado.
Did he start a couple games last year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think the move for him is to be a bullpen guy. Now, Vinny, our favorite guy, Vinny, he came in and pitched 2 solid innings the other day. Now, I mean, begs the question if they're going to
Move him to the bullpen?
move him to the bullpen or they're going to continue the
Experiment.
the experiment. He's already had 99 starts.
Yeah,
I mean, how much?
he's got to go. He's got to go to the bullpen because you might get an inning or 2 out of him, but you're not going to get when he starts. Second time around the lineup, he gets rocked.
And what he loses it mentally.
I think people still look at that like 16 strikeout game and they think he has that in him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He
And
loses
he
it
just
mentally.
doesn't.
He just loses mental control of the game.
Right.
He showed flashes, but it's so inconsistent. Like you never know what the hell you're going to get every time he comes out there.
That's why I feel like he'd be a good bullpen guy.
Yeah,
A guy who
one
come in,
inning,
give you 2
yeah.
2 strong innings, and then move on.
And not to mention, you can't last more than 4 or 5 innings without throwing 100 pitches.
Yeah.
And then your bullpen gets used like crazy.
Right.
Bring him
Yeah.
in 6th, make him a 6th inning guy.
Yep.
And if he proves himself and he keeps doing it well, then move him down into the.
I'm done with that Vinny experiment.
Yeah, me too.
Get him out. Get him out.
The only time Vinny Velasquez should start is if there's like rain coming and you're losing and you want to delay the game so it doesn't get official. Put Vinny Velasquez in; it'll take forever.
Like 4-hour innings.
Yeah, like say you're already losing like 5-0, you're like, get Vinny in there. And he's in there walking guys, and the opposing team's like, come on, man, we're trying to get to the 5th inning.
Yeah, I think it's true what Uncle Mark said, man. It's like it's that bullpen that's gonna make a difference.
It can't be as bad as last year.
Hopefully it won't be.
Nothing. That was like one of the worst in the history of baseball.
It was
Yeah.
terrible.
Dude, and we had a lot of leads last year too.
We
And
had
then
the
wound up losing
offense.
at the
I
end.
think if we would have not blown like half
would've
our
won the
leads,
division.
we would have won the division, made the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Definitely.
They went to the last game of the season.
Yep.
With that bullpen.
Unreal.
And they, it came down to that with all those blown games and the
Oh,
sloppy
man.
play, the bad fielding. I mean, it was atrocious.
Yeah, it was.
You
Herrera
guys
is back, so I think they make a big difference too.
You guys think potentially that this team? I think this team can really shock
Me too.
people here.
Yeah, me
I
too.
think they're going to be fun to watch,
Mm-hmm.
and I think someone on Pat's show with a little more common sense than Pat was saying was saying that he kind of compares his team to 93 a little bit, like kind of sneaky good.
I agree 100%. In fact, the over under is 80 and a half. I'm putting a couple shekels on the over.
Yeah, it's over all day.
Yeah, I like
80 and a half.
80 and a half. I think they're at least an 85, 86 win team. And it's a tough division, but I feel like they have that potential.
Yeah.
Especially with Eflin. Like, a lot of people, you have Nolan and Wheeler as the top two. I really like what Eflin started showing last year. I feel like they have 3 solid starters. And if you could get this, what's his name, Chase Anderson, if he could be a decent 4 or 5 slash guy, and then we'll see what about the 5th spot. I mean, it's going to come down to Matt Moore or, maybe Spencer Howard, something like that. But I feel like they got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
You talk about a loaded division, though. I mean, every team's pretty good.
Yeah.
But the comment on what Paul was saying, 2 things. One, give Odubel a chance.
Mhm.
I mean, people make mistakes.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
society.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Everybody
and,
makes a mistake. He admitted
I
it.
agree.
The girlfriend they dropped the charges and everything. Give the guy a shot.
Yeah.
And secondly, I'd like to see Moniak. I'm rooting for the kid. I mean,
Mhm.
what a burden to put on somebody.
Yeah.
To pick somebody from high school, the number 1. And,
Yeah.
I mean,
He's still only what? He's only like 23 years old.
if that.
Something like-
22 years old. Like he's just getting. He's not even in his prime yet. He's just getting towards his prime.
My friend,
Yeah.
a friend of mine, I was talking to the other day. My friend Kev, he watched the game and he said he looked like he's really bulked up.
Yeah, he looks
A lot of
bigger.
muscle.
Yeah.
He looks
He
bigger.
looks bigger. So
He was saying that the coaches always told him, "Don't worry about it. Your power's gonna come. Your power's gonna come." And he's like, I finally feel like it's coming. Like he's feeling it.
Mhm.
as long as these guys, these analytics guys, don't mess with like launch angle and try to,
Yeah.
because that's what they did with
Reese Hoskins, right?
Reese Hoskins
Yeah.
Right.
and Kingery.
Yeah.
Kingery was hitting well a couple of years back, and then all of a sudden they start messing around
Tweak
with
this,
these
tweak
analytics,
that.
and then next thing you know, these guys they forget what got them there.
My dad always says like that's why Pete Rose was so good. He always adjusted to the pitcher. If he had to step in and the pitcher pitched like wide, he would step in or he'd step foot back, step up. Like he never had that same spot where he posted up on the plate.
Right.
Oh, baseball is a game of adjustments. You can't go up there just talking about launch angle. I mean, it's
Yeah, but no one does that anymore. It is all about like launch
Right, oh,
angle,
I know.
always putting your foot in the same exact place. It's all about repetition. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
wasn't like that back then.
right. Well, I mean, I think a lot of it's money too, don't you think? I mean, you think about it. You could hit like 215, but if you hit like 25 homers, you're going to make like $9 million a year. And if you really stop and analyze it, 25 homers out of what, 600 at bats,
Right.
and you're only getting on base 2 times out of 10. Is that really that productive? When
No.
you really think about it.
Yeah.
I like the old school way of looking. Like, to me, is there a place for analytics? Of course there is. Okay, but like, go with your gut. I feel like if I'm running a team, gut feel and
Yeah, it's
feel
the
and
eye
eye
test.
test. Gut
plus
feel
like-
and eye test.
Yeah,
what
eye
I go
test
with.
is where it's at.
I feel like these hitters, like they hit the ball to the same spot. They don't like work on hitting the ball all over the diamond. So like the teams just put these shits on these players and they take their game away.
Mhm.
Where back then they didn't do that to these players because they could hit the ball everywhere in the park
Or bunt.
or ball.
Fundamentals.
Right,
Steal bases.
right.
I mean, in the 80s, the Cardinals had a team.
They don't do any of that.
Yeah, and the Cardinals had a team where they had Willie McGee, Lonnie Smith,
I remember them days.
Ozzie Smith,
Yeah,
they had Terry Pendleton, and these guys, Tommy Herr, and these guys would hit the ball at all different fields. They'd run, hit the sacrifice,
Right.
steal bases. It was great baseball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vince Coleman had like 100 steals one year.
Yeah, Vince
Yeah.
Coleman was on that team. Oh, great team, great teams.
Yeah, that's all they did. I mean,
Hit and steal.
the only power hitter they had
Jack
back
Clark.
then, Jack Clark. Yeah, Jack Clark would
He
hit
was the
like
first.
35 homers or something. That'd be about it.
That'd be it. Everybody else was like hit and run, steal bases, sacrifice.
Use the whole field.
Whitey Herzog was the
Yeah.
manager. They'd win 110 games a year, get into the World Series, playoffs all the time.
Right.
Great teams.
Yeah. Now I feel like you don't see too many of them hitters. They all like if you're right. Like if you're
Why
right,
isn't who's the guy the guy that plays center field for us? He's a switch hitter. He's the fastest guy in the league.
Roman Quinn.
Quinn.
Why isn't Boa? I was talking about this with my friend Kev the other night. Why isn't Boa working with him and teaching him to slash the ball to all the sides of the field or to bunt because I mean, you know, he should be leading off. Should not hitting eighth.
He might be the odd man out this year, don't you think? With Herrera and then Hazley coming back.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, so
Probably.
he's probably on the odd man out here.
The problem with him is he's always had so much potential, but he's always gotten hurt.
I know, yeah, exactly. A full hamstring every time.
I don't feel like he has trouble getting on base. It's like when he gets on base, he's effective, but I feel like he has trouble hitting the ball.
And he's such a detriment in the field.
Yeah, bad decision maker.
Yeah, he has his baseball IQ is just
Odubel kind of makes some questionable decisions back there too, though.
He does.
I
know?
agree.
So
But he came up as a second baseman.
okay,
So I mean, but the other guy, he's been an outfielder his whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
got Roman Quinn. Yeah.
He's been an outfielder his whole life. So, anyway.
Well, anyway, we're going to get ready to close up shop here. And it's been real. It's been a good time.
Definitely.
Love talking Philly sports. And let's go Flyers tonight. And anybody out there listening, make sure you listen to all the Devereaux Sports shows. We had a nice UFC show last night. Make sure you hit like on that. If anybody listening, please hit the like button and continue to watch all Devereaux Sports and CP Pro Productions. And thanks a lot, everybody. Let's go Flyers. Have a good one.
Let's go
All right.
I hope you guys are awake now.